So on Thanksgiving Day, lolcowlive had a whole Thanksgiving thing, right? It was a couple weeks ago, if you want any timeline. And Keemstar announced a new show, right? He announced an expansion to lolcowlive, a whole second channel dedicated to something completely different, and that was lolcowlive. After a couple days, really, if you want a better timeline, I believe within a week, 2 weeks, uh, Lolcow Rewind became a show. And then after Lolcow Rewind, we had a announcement of a bunch of shows, right? And mind you, I'm recording this on the 6th of January, so this is probably coming out some point early, if not midway through Tuesdays of the 7th. So what I'm gonna say may be outdated by the end of the day because or things will change, right? So keep this video in mind, but it isn't solid, right? It is not a, you know, what basically things are gonna change. What I mean by that, or at least what I'm getting to, is Lolcow Live Court came out on the 6th, and it was a failure. It was just a complete total failure. There was no test shooting. There was nothing. They just threw a show out there, and boom, it completely failed. Lolcowqueen was suffering quite a bit today. They were complaining with this whole thing about quitting, then Lolcow Rewind kind of thing. And I think a lot of it has to do with the overexpansion of Lolcow Live into multiple channels. There's also Lolcow Aussie, Lolcow Gaming, which I guess is like anybody can stream whenever they want. Lolcow, what's another one? Not Lolcow, but it's Mommy Milkers. I guess like Tech is supposed to be Review Tech USA and his co-host or something. I don't remember, his ex editor or something. It's just becoming this ever expanding thing that is now guaranteed to fail more and more, or at least that there's gonna be more and more setbacks, right? Lookout Court is a good example of something that may have worked great on paper or may have worked as something as a one-off throwaway stream, right? The schemers have done like, hey, let's do this thing. It may be cool, maybe interesting, right? People will be engaged, right? And they did a whole stream surrounding around. Like they had something like this back when Lynx and Boogie had their whole thing, right? Now they did this. They gave it a whole channel and everything, and it failed right then and there. And I think it failed because of technical difficulties and just straight up incompetency, right? And I think that's the issue with when you expand too fast. Is you need people behind your project that can, maintain the flow, that can maintain the job, that can do the bare, not even do the bare minimum, but to do the job great and efficient and the competent level that anybody, could do or should do, but they don't. And it doesn't help that a lot of the people who do help on the show are just volunteers, right? People who have a different skill set. Now, obviously, Keem could hire people, but he's done that in the past and it hasn't worked. And the only competent person is Lynx, through and through. Whether you like it or not, she is the only competent person that is capable of doing her job, right? And I know the docket team, I know it's a whole meme, but the docket team does get fired every other week for any amount of reasons, right? I mean, yeah, I get it. Like, they're not getting paid, but I think that's also an issue. Like, to some of these people, this is just a hobby. This is something they do for fun, right? To a show they like, which is also a problem on Keem. As I said, he overexpanded without really getting competent people who can do the bare minimum, right? Like, if you have a competent person doing what the simplest thing, you'd be surprised how fast the job can get done. Burrs is somebody who's completely incompetent and makes the job twice as hard, or even worse case, just can't do the job to begin with. Right? If you ever work or ever been in a work environment, you know what I'm referring to. And I think that's just what's gonna be. I think so with something like Locale Tech, if Review Tech USA is on it, what I think he is, then it doesn't matter. The show's gonna be successful because it's just Review Tech and his editor. Mafia Milkers, I don't know if that's gonna last or not, right? And Queen is barely just slugging through, right? Queen is basically just either on life support or not. The only show that probably has anyone that is competent is probably, Lolcow Rewind, but that's because the people behind Lolcow Rewind are people that know how to do the show. They know how to run a basic stream, right? Billy DeFord, whether you like him or not, right? He is somebody who worked with the immediate and all that, and so he has a better understanding of just doing a stream, right? He has a good understanding. Whereas Xylee is also a commentator, so take that as it is, and she has a basic competent level of doing a stream. She's been doing it for years. Becky, she's learning, she's picking it up well, but like, what do you expect? It took her this long, and you can't. Can you really try to Tina, right? And these other people, they're gonna need somebody who is just there to just run the stream, not even just like do the docket to somebody that's gonna run the stream with Mafia Milker. And look at Lolcow Core. It's failed within the first 20 minutes, or within the first couple minutes, really, and it was a failure right off the bat. And that's kind of not a good sign for Keem or anything else, or other project. I'm not even sure if Lolcow Ozzy is even gonna be a thing now, right? Maybe I'm being hyperbolic. I am being hyperbolic there, right? But it's a sign. It's showing that things things may not turn out well for everybody, and it will, you know, and it will end in failure if things don't get corrected now, right? You know, if Keem, I mean, Keem also said that he's not gonna make any more channel for the next couple until like Fat Camp, which is, I think, not saying that it's too late, but it's a little too, okay, man, well, why didn't you do that before? And I think he's just trying to just recoup, right? He's trying to like, oh crap, I gotta stop making new shows. I gotta focus on just fixing what I have, right? Because you have different shows competing with each other with different timeline, right? They moved Queens multiple times, right? I think it's the second, and don't be surprised if they moved it again, right? Lolcowlive, it probably never gonna be moved around because that, you know, Keem's bread and butter, for the whole Lolcow universe. And I kind of think that like just what they were trying to do from the beginning. Like Lolcow Live is a good show, and I think I'll finally get into. No, I'll do a separate video on my sort of disdain and slow growth and kind of boredom with Lolcow Live. But overall, my point is that Lolcow Live has expanded too fast. It does not have competent people. It is unable to manage or run these things. It changes hosts every couple of weeks or brings in somebody as like a replacement, and it fails miserably. Look at how many times they tried to replace Grace on lolcowqueen, and how much that failed, right? And then Mafia Milkers was like the most ridiculous gooner name you can imagine. Like, I don't know if that's gonna work or not. I don't know. I know a little bit of Psycho Mom. I have no clue about Savage and Glammy. I kind of just like her personality. That's really all I have to say. I just kind of like her grandma vibe. But I'm like, is that gonna really run the show? What are they gonna do? Are they gonna do what Queen do, or are they gonna do something that is geared towards an older audience? Right? Is like, it's like, what the goal? What is the plan? Right? If you ever worked at a project in college or even high school, especially in like management or economics or stuff like that, like, I don't know if anyone did it, but in college, right, we had to do a company project, right, where you and a group of people have to create a fake company, and then you have to do a goal plan, right? And you have to outline what's your objective, what are you trying to do, and you're trying to sell this to people, sell this to investors, right? And you know Keem, I think Keem is just running whatever comes to his mind. He comes up with the show, but doesn't do any research, doesn't do anything like look into it, what he can do to make things better, right? So, like, Lolcat Live right now is just, it's plateaued in a good way or a bad way, depending how you want to go off of that. It's just plateaued, for better or worse. But what with every other show, it doesn't look good on their end, and the overexpansive without anybody good doing anything is will kill these shows in a heartbeat, and I think we're seeing that. If Lolcow Core is just the first nail in the coffin, then get ready to see more, because it's not gonna get any better anytime soon. Until then, y'all have a good one and be safe and God bless.